Look at this beautiful sun, shining rays of sunshine throughout our sanctuary right now. Isn't it amazing? Wonder how it got up there, though. You see, joy is an extremely strong thing, but how are we supposed to hold on to joy and hope during challenging times? I've always struggled deeply with clinging to hope and finding joy amid hardships, especially in the traumatic last couple years of high school. After a wonderful sophomore year, I entered the summer before junior year feeling great. I spent my days as a camp counselor, filling my time with joy. But one day, a freak accident left me with a severely broken ankle requiring surgery. I spent the rest of that summer mostly in bed, just devastated. By the time junior year started, I was thankfully back up on my feet. The year would go smoothly until December 16th. When my life was forever changed. During a class party, I unknowingly ate a peanut cookie, triggering my severe, life-threatening peanut allergy. I instantly felt the familiar tingle in my throat and mouth, and I rushed myself down the hall, gasping for breath as my body went into full anaphylactic shock. My airway closing, heart pounding, I couldn't stop to think about all my loved ones I would have never been able to say goodbye to that day. As my terrified parents arrived to their worst nightmare, I was clinging to life with everything in me. I will never forget that look on my mom's face as she entered the room. Thankfully, after multiple epinephrine shots, my airway started to reopen, and I smiled at my parents, giving them a thumbs up. That was the worst day of my life, and it greatly affected how I approached life going forward. I became extremely anxious about returning to school. When finally back, overwhelming anxiety prevented me from functioning normally. Around this time on a church ski retreat, my skis detached unexpectedly, re-injuring the ankle that I just hurt before. The doctor said I needed another surgery, just day before baseball tryouts too. I'd worked so hard to rehab for my final surgery, and now losing yet another season seemed like the final blow. After so much trauma in just 9 months, I was completely devastated. The immense stress and physical damage sent me into a deep depression, spending days in bed not eating and nights filled with nightmares, reliving my near-death experience, waking to panic attacks. For months, I struggled mostly in silence, only hinting to one friend. But then one emotional conversation with my dad cracked me open. And I expressed my struggles, and I told him the awful things I was dealing with. That became the pivotal moment when my life started to turn around. I spent a month in a mental health program that included intensive group and individual therapy, and I finished my junior year doing online school. Things were better at first, but then started getting rough again. With weekly emotional breakdowns and the same nightmares and anxiety, I found myself back in the mental condition I was in just months before. But this time I was worse. Just weeks into my senior year, I stopped attending school because my anxiety had become just too overwhelming. I wasn't living. I felt I was a body just going through the motions of life, miserable all the way through. And this was when God saved me. God helped me to see behind the despair of the moment I was in. In 2 Corinthians, Paul writes, "For our present troubles are small and won't last very long, yet they produce for us a glory that vastly outweighs them and will last forever." After nights spent thinking about a future I want with the people I love, something changed in me. I'd always told myself, no, it's not possible, or I would ruin it. But for some reason now, I told myself this was what I was going to fight for. After months of feeling nothing but hopelessness, I finally had some hope instilled in me. "But they who wait for the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint." Like so many people through the ages, I was able to find renewed faith and was able to see God's presence. Even with this new mindset, though, there was still a lot of work to do. In October, I joined another mental health program, and this was one of the best things that could have happened to me at the time. in the same types of groups as my previous program, but there was a massive difference this time. Each client was assigned a mentor to help them recover and help guide them through life. And that was a game changer for me. I now had all the tools I needed. 2 parents giving me immense support and love. A loving girlfriend who I knew had my back at any moment. And my life coach, Miguel, who gave me everything I needed, whenever. Like the psalmist, I had no longer felt alone. Psalm 57 says, God will send help from heaven to rescue me, disgracing those who hound me. My God will send forth his unfailing love and faithfulness. For so long, I'd felt abandoned, alone, and lost. I felt like God had let me suffer. But I was finally able to open my eyes and see that God was sending me angels. God was giving me everything I needed to thrive. Sometimes joy and hope are hard to see. Joy is especially hard to see amidst times of struggle and sadness. Trust me, I know. But what I've learned over these last few years is that joy is there. I promise you it's there. I found joy in helping others, spending time with loved ones, in coaching my 7th grade basketball team, and in being outside in God's presence. You may find joy in your dog greeting you excitedly at the door after a long day, in hearing the birds singing first thing in the morning, or in the fresh smell of a nice summer day. You may find joy in friends, family, or community. But one thing is for certain, you can find joy anywhere. You just need to be open to look for it. Like God's presence, joy is always there. For me, opening myself up to joy has opened me up to God's presence. Now that I'm looking for it, I see God's presence everywhere, and I feel it every day. And with that joy I feel, it makes times easier. And I know that difficult times will arise again, but I'm not afraid. I trust that God's presence and God's joy and the angel God sends me will be enough to carry me through. And I hope the same for all of you. Rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I say rejoice.